Bob, when you look at the reception of Buddhism in the West, including use of terminologies, and then especially introducing fairly advanced concepts of non-self, of Buddha nature, what has the reception been like in your experience? Because you have lived for much part of that transmission of Buddhism.
Well, I think the reception is very good. I think the reception, but it's a strange reception. You know, it took me a long time because, of course, I was born in a family which was nominally Protestant Christian, although they were not very church going. Although I did go to a Sunday school as a child because I sang in the choir and this sort of thing. Although I used to argue with the pastor because I didn't believe in the monotheistic creator. And I had never heard, of course, of Buddhism or emptiness, but I used the concept of infinity. It was my favorite concept, and I used that concept to fend off the insistence by the minister that I had to believe something that didn't make sense to me. I didn't agree with that, you know, even as a child. And so I was delighted when I discovered Buddhism. But so therefore, I love Buddhism and Buddha. And the Dalai Lama, you know, His Holiness, my teacher, my second greatest teacher, and presently my greatest living teacher, he always insisted that he didn't want to convert anybody to Buddhism. And that people who were, of course, people who were born Buddhists, naturally he taught them as Buddhists, but he would always say, every time he gives a lecture in foreign country, he said, anybody who's not a Buddhist, don't ever think I'm trying to make you a Buddhist by whatever I'm teaching you. If whatever I'm teaching gives you something useful to think about, some new understanding, some better way of living, makes you happy or something, that's wonderful. And you can use that within your grandmother's religion. But I want everyone to keep their grandmother's religion so grandma won't be unhappy. And also, I think it's important that in the modern world, where all the religions are pluralistically connected to each other, in every city, you have every kind of temple and synagogue and gurudwara and mosque and whatever. It's important that we don't have interreligious competition, which could become, you know, violent among fundamentalists and so on. And so therefore, I think it's very important that we try not to try to convert other people. So I always used to tell him that he wasn't converting me, that I just chose it myself. He said, of course, someone can decide they want to change, but it's very difficult, he said, for them, and it causes stress with their family often, and it also, on a higher level, could cause really serious stress. And he used to say that, he adopted that principle long before, you know, in the end, around in the 90s, we had this experience everywhere of sort of religious fundamentalism beginning to get involved more with politics, you know, worldwide. Sort of happened about 30 years ago. But he did that from 40, 50 years ago. He had that attitude. Amazingly, you know, and I don't know if I completely agreed with him at first. I was more into, you know, let's have lots more Buddhists. And nowadays I completely do agree with him. And actually I did I did a series of lectures once in San Francisco called Buddhism Without Buddhism. And that was before Batchelor wrote that book, because I think we do have beliefs, but we don't need the ism. This was my idea. And it was pretty popular, but not with some of the new Buddhists. They didn't like it, you know, but I think that's the way, so that reception is very good of all sorts of things about Buddhism, I think. But in a way, when it's open, it's like offering the strategies, the psychologies, the scientific understandings, the meditative altered states experiences, and so forth. And as an exchange of spiritual sciences, I think the reception of Buddhism is very, very good, very wide, and will become more good in the future, I think. And therefore, it's really important that that the non-Buddhist people, like the Christians and the Jews and the Muslims and the Hindus, that they understand that the Buddhists are happy to share things, but they're not trying to grab market share of people away from them. They want people to use things in their own cultural setting and their own belief system setting. Although naturally, it will involve some theological changes. I think if people become more aware of Buddhist philosophy, Buddhist science, what I consider Buddhist science, they might change. There might be theological changes with their own traditions, I think.
Yeah.